Welcome, tennis fans. My name is Luke Jensen, and welcome to Luke's Legends, presented by World Team Tennis. We have a very special guest, the CEO, the commissioner of World Team Tennis, Carlos Silva. Carlos, welcome to the show.
How you doing, Luke?
Doing great, buddy. I'll tell you, it's always been so much fun because whenever you're in the house, just everybody's elevated. The players are elevated, the TV, the personnel, and the fans get psyched. Tell us about your background, because I know you were a baller as a player, as a kid in the college ranks. Tell us about your journey to World Team Tennis.
Well, it's great. I got the greatest job in the world. I have so much fun working with you and all of our coaches and all of our teams. And, we've grown this thing from 2019, and we're all in the middle of this crazy time, but, still looking forward to trying figuring out 2020 together. I've been around sports and media my whole career. I like so many wanted to make tennis a career, but it got stopped short in a small town in Canada, back a few years ago. And when I decided I better go get a master's degree and sort of hang up the sticks, but had a good run, played some college tennis, at least earned a pro paycheck so I could say I was there. And look, tennis has taught me so much. I always joke with everyone because people often, sort of say that I'm a little bit of a stickler to be on time for meetings and things like that. I'm like, well, if you're late, you got dock games. You don't understand, when you showed up 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late, you were down a point, you were down a game, you were down a set, you learn those things from coming up in the juniors and stuff. And so, look, tennis is taught me so much. I'm so happy that I can be the CEO of World Team Tennis and take this thing that, that Billie Jean, started so many years ago. And now we've, got these new owners and Fred Luddy and Eric Davidson. And I gotta tell you, Luke, we have a great time working together too. So I'm just happy to hang out a little bit and chat while we're all staying at home and trying to get through this thing.
Well, World Team Tennis has always been the cutting edge of the game. It's really led to so many innovations on the main tour, from the young stars coming up from like Maria Sharapova, Andy Roddick, and then, of course, all the innovations from the Hawkeye, the line calling, and all the colors of the court. But you really elevated last year. Talk about that transition. 46 years now of World Team Tennis of innovations, but boy, you really added some fun stuff. The AllStar was amazing.
Yeah, we wanted to take, what happens in the summer with the season, and we wanted to try and extend it and help to bring World Team Tennis to fans, in the fall, in the spring, and then maybe even we do it again in the fall. And so, yeah, World Team Tennis All-Star was awesome. They hadn't done one in a long time. We were chatting about it. Rod Laver, who was there at, in La Costa with us, was in the last All-Star. I think it was 1976. Billie Jean was in that match. Chris Evert was in that match a long time ago. So we resurrected, WTT All-Stars. And, we brought out the All-Stars from, Maria Sharapova showing to the Bryant brothers. And, it was great to have our Davis Cup captain and Marty Fish coaching one of the teams, and James Blake. And the list just goes on and on with all the legends that were there, and also the All-Stars that played. It was a great match. It was a lot of fun. In many ways, I feel a little blessed that we got it in, and it was really kind of the last live event before, the Americas started to get a little bit shut down. We did that event on March 1st, and I can't believe it's been 45 days since then, and so much has changed. It was a great show on CBS. If you missed it, you can go on Facebook right now and watch it. We mic'd all the players, singles, doubles, all the fun. Red Foo was there. We even subbed Red Foo in. He played a couple of points.
Played great.
He did. He made a couple great volleys. It's funny because I was on a conference call with him the other day, Luke, and I was like, you owe me. I made you now. You may be a famous DJ with famous songs, but I made your tennis career. And he was like, you're right. So it was super fun. And it was great having you in the chair, Luke. You did a fabulous job. It was so funny when Marty and James got on the court, and you were joking with them that things slowed down a little bit, and they had a lot of fun. It was just it was a great All-Star weekend, and we look forward to doing it again in 2021.
We're really happy and blessed to have your leadership, because you really do think outside of the box like the All-Star. Where does World Team Tennis go with this chaos? Because you're the next up on the lineup. You know, Wimbledon canceled out. The calendar's rolling up to you. Talk about some of the innovations that you're thinking about. They're going to work for 2020.
You know, it's a great question, Luke. I mean, we have a great team here at World Team Tennis, including you and others. We're all sort of scouring the news, the Twitter feeds, anything that we can to try and be on top of what's going on. I don't think anyone in the world really knows what's going to happen. So we're just trying to do our best to understand whether it's statements from Adam Silver from the NBA or Mr. Bettman from the NHL or whoever it is, to the governors, to the White House briefings, to Dr. Fauci. We're trying to listen and be prepared. We've got some great teams. We've got teams in 9 cities. Obviously, our teams are in big cities. A couple of those cities, as we know, especially New York, is at the top of the crisis. And so, we're monitoring, what's happening. We're listening. We're all staying at home right now, doing things like this, which is fun to try and stay entertained for everyone. And I think in the next couple of weeks, as we get to the beginning of May, we'll be ready with a plan. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that every single day it continues to evolve. I was on the phone today with Billie Jean and Alana, talking about our, some of our optionality. I've been on the phone with our venue partners from New York to San Diego and Vegas and everywhere in between. We want to go on July 12th. I know the world wants us to go on July 12th. We all need tennis. We all need sports. And we're just going to take the next 2 weeks, monitor how everything develops, understand state to state. I was on the phone today with the USTA, talking to them. As I think everyone knows, the Orlando Storm plays at the USTA National Campus, and they're a great partner. We'd love to do something at the USTA National Campus as Florida possibly opens up. And so I think we'll be ready. I think we've got at least 5 or 6 plans. And I think there's only one thing that has to start at the top of that decision tree, which is wave the open flag. And until the open flag gets waved, all of the different branches on the decision tree are just hypothetical. And so we're waiting for that open flag to be waved. And in the meantime, we're trying to, do what we all do, which is, stay at home, be safe, be smart, and then listen to, all the governors and the White House and everyone else and the doctors that are giving us, guidance.
I want to talk about something that you did with the ownership. It was so very special and meaningful. A lot of fans don't realize that the tennis players play paycheck to paycheck. Yes, you'll have your Roger Federer big contract or a lifetime contract with some company for Serena, but those are the outliers. Most of the players, even in the top 100, even in the top 50, go tournament to tournament. They have now big teams they travel with, big expenses. And at Indian Wells, that stopped. And talk about what you did with your ownership, going out of your way, out of your pocket to support your players and your staff.
Yeah, look, we've got a great ownership group with Eric Davidson as our chairman and Fred Luddy as our majority owner, and John Korn that runs the capital investment group for Fred. We all were on the phone today. We were talking just like we are about, what's going on and the French Open's moved and what's going to happen with this tournament and what's going to happen with other properties. And Fred asked me, he's like, is our roster all set for 2020? I said, in fact, it is. All 9 of our teams are fully rostered. We went to free agency this year. A lot of players, came in, the Bryant brothers and Sam Querrey and Stevie Johnson and Sloane Stephens and so many. But then you've got Neil Skupski and the Skupski brothers and Johnny O'Mara and others, and we just kind of put our heads together. We said, look, some of these players need help, and maybe it's not a lot of money, but we want to try and help. And so we just put our rosters together. We looked at how many players and coaches were on the roster, because we got so many great coaches like yourself and Tim Blinkeron in Vegas and so many, just it goes on and the list goes on and on. Craig Carden in Philadelphia and Kamal Murray in Chicago and Fred just said, we should send him some money. Everyone should, needs a little help. And so we just decided that we'd send $1,000 to everyone. It was just a gift. It's not it wasn't an advance. It wasn't anything. It was just literally like a thank you to say, thank you for being part of World Team Tennis. Thank you for being part of the team. And then our team, led by, Matt Elephant, who runs player services for us, got it all done. And everyone got a wire or a Venmo or however they could get the $1,000. We got a lot of nice notes from so many people, from Sophia Kennan to the Bryant brothers to Neil Skupsky and Ken Skupsky and Johnny and yourself and everybody just saying thank you. And it's really the thought that counts. And then so many of them saying, thanks, it's going to help me pay a few bills or pay my rent or just help me contribute. Because as you said, Luke, most people don't realize that, when you travel to a tournament and you lose first round or second round, you have a lot of expenses to get wherever you've got to get around the world. As you know, it's not cheap to fly around the world, and it costs money, and players pay for that. And so without them playing right now, since Indian Wells, they have no income coming in. And so, we wanted to send a little something to say thank you, and we're really happy to do it. And I'm so thankful to our owners. I got to tell you, it took about 24 hours to say, do it. And we put a little budget together, and I got a text back from Fred, and he's like, do it. And it was great.
I'm telling you, it has really drawn everyone together because it just came out of the blue. No one expected it. And, really what you're building at World Team Tennis, it's been around for a while, but now I just feel we do a lot of meetings with the coaches, and we do the conference calls and things, and we really are on the same page. Talk about where we go beyond this. Let's say, we do have something in 2020, but talk about your vision for the future for World Team Tennis.
Well, look, I mean, I've known about World Team Tennis. I'm lucky that I live outside of Washington, D.C., and Mark Ein has done a fabulous job over the years with the Washington Castle. So World Team Tennis is sort of part of my sports profile here in D.C., which is great. And being a sports guy and a media guy my whole career, at least I had that as visibility here in DC. 2019 was great. We added CBS, we added ESPN Plus. They've been great partners. I think more people than ever saw it. And we were on broadcast CBS, which is as good as it gets in terms of our audience growth. So super happy to have those partners. Really thankful in 2020 that we expanded into Chicago with our 9th team. Again, things will change in 2020 as the whole world tries to get through 2020. But I think it's about expansion. We've got a lot of inbound from other parts of the country, whether it's Seattle, Northern California, South Florida, Texas, Denver area, Buffalo area, all saying, can we get a World Team Tennis franchise? So I think, as we look to 2021 and we regroup after we all get through 2020, hopefully on a positive note, I think it's how do we expand? How do we continue to grow? I think more players than ever are now calling us, wanting to come in and not just drop in and play a match or two, but be part of a team, be part of trying to win a championship and win the King Trophy. I'm so honored that the Bryant brothers decided to play a full season in 2020 on the Vegas Rollers. I mean, the greatest doubles team in the history of doubles. And yeah, they were at AllStar. I mean, just great guys. I mean, they're amazing what they do, and they have fun doing it. And there's others that fall into that camp. And I think you're just going to continue to see more and more of that. I think continue to grow it, continue to make World Team Tennis a spot on the calendar in the tennis, in the tennis fabric. Continue to grow our relationships with the ATP, the WTA, the ITF. We want to be part of that calendar. We're part of the tennis fabric. And I think we got to continue doing that. And then how do we innovate? How do we continue to innovate? I mean, we've done things, well before I got here, before, anyone was doing it. And we got to continue with the music. We got to continue with the entertainment. We got to continue with Hawkeye and miking the players and bringing, the fans, tennis or otherwise, into like what it's like to hear a doubles team talk to each other, and what are the things they're doing. And by the way, they're joking around sometimes too. They're not always all serious. And I think that's just a big part of it, and how we continue to expand the game, which is so important to us, to the USTA, and to tennis around the world for sure.
There's no doubt about it. AllStar was like, you could see Marty Fish talking, out there. It's like, this is what's going to happen. And it happened perfectly with Sam Querrey serving wide, going for the forehand down the line. All those little things draw in the audience. It's just a huge part of our game that people want to get involved. We see it all the time. I really think a big move was every match was live streamed. So I could do a lot of scouting last year by watching, okay, we got this team coming up. They're playing a live match. I can watch like what their lineups are, how their players are playing. It really draws more people, even though you can't be in the stands, from outside, drawing them into the entire season.
Yeah, look, there's no doubt last year it was great. We had 60 some matches between the regular season with the 8 teams last year and the playoffs. And being able to produce all of those matches, whether they were on CBS, whether they were on CBS Sports Network, whether they were on ESPN Plus, as well as WTT.com, didn't matter where you lived around the world, you could watch every single match. And I agree, Luke. It was great for me too, as a CEO, to be able to, like, I can't go to all of them because there were sometimes 3 and 4 matches an evening, but I could watch all of them either live or right after live. We'll continue to do that. That's so important, especially in this world. I mean, look, we're both sitting in our houses, and we're talking to each other. We're being able to talk to the fans. We're going to continue to do more and more of it. Ryan Harrison just started a little happy hour where a bunch of people are going on the show. By the way, I got invited to your show. I didn't get yet invited to his show, and so I'm happy to debut on Luke's show. And Ryan, if you're listening, you should take note. And so. I think we'll continue to do more of it, and every match will always be available. It's so critical, whether we can come back with fans or not. We might have to start without fans. I mean, so many of the major leagues are looking at that. That is a real possibility that we are looking at the league level. But you know what? We can reach hundreds of thousands of fans, whether we're on television, and when I say we're on television, this is television too now. Whether you can get it on your iPad or your computer or your television set, or whether it's on broadcast, all of them count. We can reach so many fans. I mean, we reached over 500,000 fans with our All-Star match between CBS, and we did some stuff with Facebook that was awesome. And that number will continue to go up. And so we're going to do that all season long. And we're going to do some new stuff too around, different camera views and being able to get into the stadium if you can't make it there live.
Yeah, no, we see that on the other networks too. When they broadcast the Grand Slams, more people are watching on their devices. That's just reality. And they're following the scores, the live scoring, of course, the streaming. But I want to close with this. I was a player in World Team Tennis, did some broadcasting for World Team Tennis, and I had the opportunity when you and Billie Jean brought me in as a coach. Is one of the just most amazing experiences to be with the Sloane Stevenses and the John Isners and my team that I called Team Awesome, working on fun. And we got off to a real slow start, 1-3. But then we kind of turned it around. We had some veterans. Marty, jumped on ship, and Marty Fish was just a huge factor of our success. We get all the way to the finals. We're in Vegas, okay? In the semis, we had to beat our nemesis, Philadelphia, and Taylor Townsend, who's, I believe, the most lethal weapon in World Team Tennis for what she can do in singles, doubles, and mixed. Somehow, with a net cord service ace, we get through Philadelphia. Now we're in the finals. We're playing, we're not even supposed to be here. Last year, we win 2 matches. And all of a sudden, we're playing. We go into the final event up 2 games, going in the men's doubles. I'm like, holy cow. Now I'm starting to look at the trophy. Billie Jean, Tell me what you were thinking during that final. It's live on CBS. It was just awesome.
I mean, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, to get through Philly, I mean, Philly was the most dominant team last year. You know, for you guys to, you know, to get through it. And I mean, it was so tight, and the semis was so tight, and you know, there was a couple of upset players, and, you know, sort of just as a, you know, just, you know, not only as the CEO of the league, but just, you know, being on teams myself, you know, you felt for the players that lost, that didn't get through, and, you know, but yet you got to stay positive and, you know, get to the finals and, you know, keep smiling and moving it forward. I mean, look, it came down to what you would hope, you know, not like any Super Bowl. Sometimes it comes down to one pass or one catch. And in many ways it did between the semifinals and the finals. And by the way, Luke, what's insane about all this is that if 2020 comes off and we're working hard to make it happen, there's $1 million at stake in the postseason in 2020. So not only is it just, you know, like the regular season pay and a couple of bonuses that was 2019, now we've added $1 million to postseason. So not, you know, that backhand up the line that misses on Hawkeye by an inch. Changes the game completely. So, and
the players know it. I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And look, the thing that I love about it, and I look, I've heard it for years, is it World Team Tennis competitive? And, you know, I always would say, guys, you don't understand, it's competitive. But you know what? It is. We have taken it with your help and everyone's help to another level in terms of competitiveness. And with this postseason prize money, I mean, even last year, I think I think it was 7 teams were still in it to make it into the postseason on the last night.
Yeah.
And so that's as good as it gets. I mean, there was a couple of upsets, and I think you guys squeaked into the playoffs, into the 4 slot. I mean, and so look, that's good sport, and that's what we all want in sport. And I think that's what we're going to deliver. And, you know, it's going to come down to a no ad decision point. That is
all that money, baby,
for the chance to raise the King Trophy and win a bunch of money. And you know what? That's awesome. That is Team Awesome.
That is Team Awesome. Well, Carlos, I promise you, the theme this year is finish the job. Okay, we got to finish this year. I was a little too overconfident, but thank you so much for your time. I really hope everything works out. And I know it will. We're going to get through this somehow. We have a tight family at World Team Tennis, the players, the staff, the fans. Just keep it going, buddy.
Thanks, Luke, and thanks for your help. And we're doing everything we can. We're trying to explore every corner case. And then, of course, just listen to everyone. And everyone, look, stay at home, be safe, get a little exercise every day. That's really important. And we'll come out on the other side. And we're really hoping that World Team Tennis is going to open the tennis world back up for everybody. And, you know, keep the hope alive. And Luke, thanks for everything.
All right. There's another unbelievable edition of Luke's Legends presented by World Team Tennis. Don't forget to catch us on Facebook, Insta, and of course, WTT.com.